Hi, and welcome to another episode of Career Reshaped. I'm Pauline.
And I'm Natasha, and today we have Danya Gamliel with us. Danya is a fifth-generation clairvoyant and intuitive healer with over a decade of experience guiding people towards financial abundance, spiritual alignment, and deep self-trust. She blends powerful psychic insight with grounded practical strategy to support clients through life's biggest transitions and energetic expansions. Her work has been sought after by high net worth CEOs, celebrities, and even royalty. So, Danya, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me on. This is very exciting. Thanks, ladies.
This is a quick intermission to let you know that this is a part one of our interview with Danya. So follow and subscribe so you can hear the rest of our exciting chat.
So, when someone says they're blocked or can't seem to attract what they want, what's the first energetic thing you look for?
Well, firstly, that word in itself, it sort of makes me think that that person's gone into what I call victim mode. Victim mode is always going to be a blockage, so to speak, for financial abundance, because this is not a very woo-woo answer, right? And excuse the Soviet upbringing, but really you need to lean into what's called the law of action. So not the law of attraction, the law of action. It is the most powerful tool to use, and that is strategy. So you feel blocked? Okay, let's stop and think what strategy we need to implement here in order for us to start movement. Sometimes it's as simple as, some individuals find that, for example, they've started a new business, money's not flowing as well. Sometimes you actually just need a job on the side in order for you to have income coming through, for you to feel energetically more safe with money, and you'll find that money will flow through with work. So blocked, I don't like that term necessarily. I feel like blockages, yes, we can have obstacles. Yes, we do have energetic blockages that might create obstacles for us. But overall, to say you're fully blocked, that's victim mode, in my humble opinion.
That's very interesting. And that's such a change, because you always think, law of attraction, but wow, it's such a difference.
But I like it. You said it's not woo-woo, it's state of mind and the energy that you have towards a situation. So if you're feeling more comfortable and calmer, then your energy is a bit better. You're a bit more, I think, open then to receive different challenges, because you're not as risk averse. So then you go for it. And you probably, when you go for it, that's when things happen.
Absolutely. When you go out of fear is not always bad. So we'll go into that, no doubt. But, we need to feel safe when we make our decisions. They come from confidence, they flow, they're powerful. And I feel a lot of business owners out there in particular are so stressed with money not coming through, bills piling, I'm blocked. All right, let's actually take a moment. Let's take a step back and see what a solution is here to allow for more flow. And, sometimes it really is a matter of just strategy, law of action. Law of action is key.
You've worked with high performers, CEOs, celebrities, and royalty, as I mentioned earlier. So what's one thing they all come to you for deeper down?
They don't so much come to me for abundance purposes. They've reached that, but they do come for the purpose of seeking peace or harmony in their life, whether it's through their relationships, whether it's through their business dealings, whether it's just in general. So they look at removing anything that's dense and negative. I do a lot of evil eye rituals. I smile as I say this because I know that that's a very polarizing thing to offer. But I work with a lot of elite individuals that believe energy is something we carry. They want the assistance to remove it. And sometimes when it's you and you're in that emotional state, it's hard to sometimes remove it yourself. You might need an unbiased third party to help you with this process. And that's what I do. So they want to find peace, like all of us, peace and harmony.
It's so similar to our clients, not all, of course, but then we've got some clients who are looking for career change, and they already know what they want. They're just looking for someone else outside of their circle telling them that's okay, and yes, you can do it. It's possible.
Yes, sometimes it is a matter of just, it's doable, it happens. Why not you? Other people are doing it and doing it successfully. I agree with that. That's very powerful.
So can you share a 60-second energetic reset someone can do when they're spiraling in self-doubt and scarcity or not feeling like they've got peace?
Yeah, so this is a really complex question because a 60-second reset. So again, we're going into what's called victim mode. I would say that what I would do if that was me, because I'm human as well, and unfortunately being a mum, sometimes we can get really stressed and overwhelmed with things. So I would do something ritualistic. Before your viewers raise their eyebrows around ritualistic work, I just want to be clear that this is something used by elite athletes, CEOs, business founders. Like look at Nadal, for instance, on the tennis court. That's all ritualistic. I personally would jump into the shower and literally say everything negative, everything that doesn't serve me, everything that's not benefiting me, I want it removed down the drain. I visualize gunk getting down the drain, and then I come out cleansed, clean, and I jump into strategy. That's what I would do. That's what I would recommend for my clients to do.
Love it.
Interesting. I have been told before that you need to kind of just say it out loud, that I want it to leave me, I want it to go. And I like that idea of the shower because then you can actually imagine it more. You can try to give yourself something, instead of just saying empty words, you can try to feel it and imagine that water coming off you is, like you said, that gunk, that negative energy.
Absolutely.
Visualizing.
If you're not near a shower, you might be at work and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a terrible thing happening.
Sorry, I got to go have a shower right now.
Fair enough. If you can't, you can do other things that are still as powerful. I would then get a cup of coffee, get a spoon, rotate it anti-clockwise and say whatever is happening, it's leaving, it's not part of my next chapter. Drink it all and say thank you, universe. Gratitude is very important here. Thank you for removing it. And back to strategy, always back to strategy.
Interesting. And why the anti-clockwise?
It's symbolic. It's symbolic to say it's not going with the time, not moving forward with you. It's removing, going against time.
Yeah, love that.
Good idea. Thank you for that. Yeah. I think that's easy. A lot of people can just do that at home in the office at any time.
Absolutely. Yeah, quick tip.
Yeah. What are the most common abundance myths that keep people stuck or overworking?
Yeah, I think the most common abundance myth or money myth is that money is the root of all evil. This is keeping a lot of people stuck because subconsciously they don't realize how fearful they are of wealth. They might think, I want XYZ salary and I want to earn, I want this much coming through into my bank account. But when the core of you believes that money is evil, too much money is greedy, you will find yourself repelling it energetically. So that's something you need to really deeply do the work around. You have to understand what your money story is. Each of us, in my humble opinion, have a comfort level of, if I have, for example, I'll use a random figure, if I have $10,000 in my bank account, that's where I feel comfortable. Anything below, and I'll say to myself, I've got to work harder to get the bank account back up. Anything above it has the same effect, unfortunately. If you've got 12,000, but you're only comfortable with 10, you will subconsciously find ways to rid yourself of that $2,000. So what we need to do is we need to find a healthy base for you. Everyone's different and it will change over time. You need to find what your healthy base is and understand why you feel fearful if it's beyond that. The stories are incredible. In the US, it could be I have to pay more alimony perhaps, or, do I need to pay more tax? That's really scary. There's obligations, responsibilities around having more money. Others will say it's evil, it's bad, I don't need so much, it makes me a bad person. So our money story is what keeps people stuck, I believe.
I would probably say, this is only speaking from my own personal thing, that fear of success, because perhaps there's a level of power that comes with it, power, responsibility. What if I can't keep it up? If there's imposter syndrome, because, what if they say I'm a fraud? I'm not worthy of it, perhaps, or I can't keep up with it. I can't keep up with the extra demands. Because once you start getting more money, it means that you're leveling up in what you're doing. Because you're not going to just get more money by doing the same thing. You have to change directions. And that's scary. And then what if you can't maintain it? What if it's too hard? Mm-hmm. I think that's also like a psychological block that people have that they need to overcome. Well, at least myself, it's like, I've never done that. Can I do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So many reasons for, not wanting to stand out. In my industry, for example, this is a real issue with the spiritual space and the healing space is if you have too much money, does that then make you appear dishonest? And one of the most powerful things that when I first started in the industry, when I first started doing it professionally, a business coach told me, well, you're actually going to have to be okay with that. Some people might just say you are. And you have to sit with that and be okay with that. So, yes.
That's interesting you brought that up because growing up it would be, I guess, quite spiritual and believing in psychics and clairvoyants and mediums and all the things. We were always told, especially when I would talk to one, that some of them would be, when you ask them how much to pay, they'll be, you pay me what you feel is right. And I'm like, how do I figure what that is? Like, that's so odd. Just you tell me. And they would say, no, I can't because this is a gift. And if I put a set amount, then I'm putting a value and then I am devaluing. And then it becomes that dishonesty thought process for others comes in. So this way, if they tell me you pay what you feel it was worth, then they're being fair or they're not exploiting their gift. And I feel like I get that at some point, but at the same time, I've just used up your time as well.
Yeah, I think people pay more, when you tell them whatever you feel. I'm not sure if it's still around, but a restaurant in St Kilda in Melbourne that... The vegan one. And they're like, pay whatever you feel the dish is worth. So you feel bad. So you pay more than... probably it is worth.
But they did start that for the homeless. They started that where people that couldn't afford to pay, they could just pay what they could. And if you can afford to pay, then the idea was you would pay more to cover the expense for the homeless. So that one kind of made sense. But I guess, sometimes people would pay more because then they're like, well, I don't know what the average rate is.
It's very complicated with this sector. A lot of psychics that I've interacted with happen to come from Eastern Europe. And as you know, that was once upon a time communist. There wasn't that direct exchange of money. So once upon a time it was produce, you'd give, it would be a bartering system. But I think it comes down to that person's sense of what is that person's money story, because they've just put on a whole lot of things. And I personally, because I'm very passionate about particularly women seeking abundance and living abundantly, I probably wouldn't go to someone that's got this really complicated money story and sees money and value. Well, personally, how do I look at my rates? This is the time away from my kids. This is the time away from my family. This is how much I believe that chunk of time is worth to me. This is my value, very transparently. So I don't know if I think that's, and some may not agree with that, but then would that align with those that are seeking business support in a spiritual sense? Probably not, arguably.
Yeah. Well, if someone doesn't agree with it, then that's not your client.
Agreed.
Well, not for you. And I mean, that's something like Natasha and I are trying to work out, like, how much do we charge? And we're very different in the viewpoints of how much to charge. Sometimes I feel bad, like, well, people don't have a job, looking for work. But then the other side of that is, but then what is that value that's what's going to get them the job? Service that we give is going to pay off in the first week of employment, or maybe even first few days of employment. So we're helping, but it's also our time, away from kids, or work on the weekends, or work in the evening, I could be having a nap, but so we put our heart into it as well. So it's not just like a willy-nilly, we write a resume, like ding, done, so we do put a lot of energy into it. I feel as long as you give value and someone is better off at the end of the day with it, no matter whether they end up getting their dream job or whatnot, but they're that much closer, then I think no one should feel bad to charge for a service that they're giving with their whole heart and energy.
Absolutely. I
really well.
absolutely agree with you. I'm of the view that you don't need to be affordable to everyone as well. Yes, you can help. Of course, there's pro bono work, and by all means, I'm all for that. Be a good person and help other people. But when it comes to the business, you don't have to be affordable to everyone. You need to be able to say, this is my service, this is the value I bring, and this is the dollar value that it will cost for the exchange of my energy. Very firm with that.
Yeah.
That's really, really good.
You have to be firm, I think. Otherwise, you're devaluing yourself. And if you do value it, then value it all the way, the very end.
You can find a way to save up for, it's obviously challenging if they're not working. There is a gig economy. There's various ways around this. I do have a very strong immigrant mentality, don't I? Like, I think everything has a solution. And if we look at how many people say, I can't afford this, but they're spending money on Uber Eats or they're spending money on unnecessary fast fashion, I feel like it's up to that person's, obviously there's some circumstances where people are very underprivileged. I have a lot of compassion for that. But in generally speaking, it is up to that person to make something that they're investing into themselves work. I also love the term, is it expensive or is it expansive? Like, let's be clear, are we adding to ourselves or not?
Well, I think it's because a resume or, cleanse or something is not as fun as, say, fast fashion, and it's instant, like a dopamine hit. Like, you get that meal straight away. With a resume, for example, it takes time. You have to also work behind the scenes yourself. You'll submit to the jobs. It's not as exciting. I like to say that, career coaching is not sexy. No one's like following us on Facebook going, wow, what amazing content. I'm just chilling, listening how to interview better.
Content is great. Follow us on Instagram.
Sexy. I don't know. I'm all about, empowering yourself, investing into yourself, and what's not sexy about that. So I respectfully disagree. I think you're very sexy. Yes.
Thank you.